The project started out basically as a suggestion for a plaque at the high school, and it grew because of the encouragement and support to what you see behind me, which is, something that we all can be proud of. But I think the biggest surprise, and it was just, kind of soul-searching. We'd originally known that we had 2 soldiers from Vietnam that were killed in Vietnam from St. Francis High School that had graduated. This was classmates with these 2. They were different years, but I remembered them from high school. And we wanted to do something to recognize them.
My original thoughts when I was approached by this group of citizens, Denny, Mike, and Brad, was it seemed like a big idea and a big undertaking for Anoka County. So the original idea came about naming a bridge, and there's policy against that by the county board. And then it kind of evolved into looking for a home for this particular project. So we looked at a few different park areas, and we landed here at the Cedar Creek Conservation Area. And it ended up being just the perfect fit for the project.
My first involvement was actually with Leslie Cowden. I was on the board of the Anoka County Historical Society, and they just redid a new fundraising program called Adopt an Artifact. Well, when I came across the Leslie Cowden artifact, I read it. I read all of it, the entire portfolio for that artifact, and I was just taken in by his bravery, his commitment, his duty, the honor that this young man had put forth. So we knew we had to bring in fill. So the first thing we did was bring in a bunch of fill. And then we dug the hole for the footing for the monument. Then we cased that in, form it, poured the footing. Then we poured the rest of the slab. But that was one of the big surprises in the constructing of this thing, is how well everything went from start to finish. It just went so smoothly, which is not very common in construction. You always run into something that always, throws you for a little loop, but went good.
Our silhouettes behind us for the soldiers kneeling was a high school. We had 4 high school students who died in Vietnam. I wanted our Saints manufacturing class to do the soldiers for us. And sure enough, a young sophomore student, she planned out the whole project on the computer, transferred that over to their plasma cutter, did all the work on the computer for that, and they went to work and they cut out our 2 soldiers and our helmet, rifle, and boots.
We had a former classmate from the other 2 come forward and tell us, there's really 4. Well, that was unknown to all of us, but when we researched it, they were in the yearbook and they were on the wall in Washington, D.C., but they weren't on any of our lists. But we made the decision that day we're going to go with 4 instead of the 2. And as I reflected back on it, it was almost like Leslie and Peter had been guiding us from day one to design something and locate something that would accommodate these 2, and that they were guiding us that we'd find them through the fundraising, and not only find them, but bring them home. Because they'd have been lost to history for the state of Minnesota had it not been for this memorial. So, yeah, that was the most gratifying part of it for me.
Actually, we were talking today already. This big oak tree here needs to be taken down this winter. And Jeff said they're going to take it down during the winter months, down to where that burr is sticking out. And they were going to have about a 7-foot stump there. and we're going to talk to a chainsaw artist to do a big eagle for us. So that's the next big one is there. And we're looking to get the emblems of the U.S. Army, U.S. Marine on the stones.
One that really hit home to me was a football game last fall at high school during halftime. Frankly, we didn't even think about passing the boot through the student section. Well, when we were about ready to leave, they positioned themselves at the bleachers and the students came out putting money in the boot. You know, for somebody that had that stigma from when you always expected the worst when you encountered a situation like that, to see something this beautiful. I got to tell you, I went to my car and cried.
Just working with Dennis and Mike, what an honor it had been for me to work with these two gentlemen. I just can't say enough about their leadership, their diplomacy, their fortitude in the project. We never really had any big setbacks. Setbacks were always turned into opportunities, like Dennis had said. But just working with these gentlemen was really, really, really nice.
It worked out well. We were just a team that came together, and it worked. And it just was fantastic. It was the three of us and the park board. And we kept it pretty much that. Because you get too many on the board there, it gets to be complicated. But the three of us, we made it happen. And it worked out super, super nice for us.